that is printed
Yes.
in 3D.
In 3D,
Yes.
claro, instead of
3D.
real food.
Yes.
Claro.
And you can download your favorite chef's recipe and print it in 3D. That would be fantastic for
that
me,
would be
that I
great.
hate
I like that
cooking.
part.
Yes.
Claro.
I like that part of the future world.
Well, okay,
Pero
so.
asusta igual, asusta.
No,
course.
yes. I don't like it. It's only, I
But
mean,
Vani, was that a text or were those the students' ideas?
No, it was a text.
Well,
I'm
okay.
going to send it. Yes.
Yeah, send it to me because I will use it with my kids. Because
okay.
they
Yes.
are not so resourceful.
Yes. You
so
will have to translate it because it's in Spanish.
it's in Spanish. No, well,
Sí.
but to take some ideas because I asked them to invent, but I
Right.
end up inventing myself because
Yes.
they cannot think.
They cannot.
So
They cannot.
that will help me to have brand new ideas that will
Yes.
they will like probably.
Okay. Well, so here, the man wanted to kill who gave you orders? I go after him.
Yes.
He's the one to kill. You are wrong. He got his orders from the bank. The bank told him, clear those people out or it's your job. Well, there's a president of the bank. There's a board of directors. I'll fill up the magazine of the rifle and go into the bank. The driver said, fellow was telling me the bank gets orders from the east. The orders were, make the land show profit or we'll close you up. But where does it stop? Who can we shoot? I don't aim to starve to death before I kill the man that's starving me. I don't know, maybe there's nobody to shoot. Maybe the thing isn't men at all. Maybe, like you said, the property's doing it. Anyway, I told you my orders. I got to figure, the tenant said. We all got to figure. There's some way to stop this. It's not like lightning or earthquakes. We've got a bad thing made by men, and by God, that's something we can change. The tenant sat in his doorway, and the driver thundered his engine and started off, tracks falling and curving, harrows coming, and the valley of the cedar slipping into the ground. Across the dooryard, the tractor cut, and the hard, foot-beaten ground was seeded field. And the tractor cut through again. The uncut space was 10 feet wide. And back he came. The iron guard bit into the house corner, crumbled the wall, and wrenched the little house from its foundations so that it fell sideways, crushed like a bug. And the driver was goggled and a rubber mask covered his nose and mouth. The tractor cut straight line on, and the air and the ground vibrated with its thunder. The tenant man stared after it, his rifle in his hand, his wife beside him, and the quiet children behind, and all of them stared after the tractor. Wow, it's terrible, and it is so well written. So we go back to Casey. There is something in the chat. Sorry.
It's me.
Vanessa.
I send the
Yes. You send the
Thank you, Annie.
the
Yes.
link. There are other links also. You need to Google.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So we go back to Casey and Tom, who were looking from the top of the hill to the house that is abandoned. Yes. The Reverend Casey and young Tom stood on the hill and looked down on the Joad place. The small unpainted house was mashed at one corner, and it had been pushed off its foundations so that it slumped at an angle. Its blind front windows pointing at a spot of sky well above the horizon. The fences were gone, and the cotton grew in the dooryard up and up against the house, and the cotton was about the shed barn. The outhouse lay on its side, and the cotton grew close against it. Where the dooryard had been pounded hard by the bare feet of children and by stamping horses' hooves and by the broad wagon wheels, it was cultivated now. And the dark green, dusty cotton grew. So can you imagine the house pulled down, yes? And the cotton growing there. Young Tom stared for a long time at the ragged willow beside the dry horse trough, at the concrete base where the pump had been. Jesus, he said at last, hell must popped here. There ain't nobody living there. At last, he moved quickly down the hill, and Casey followed him. He looked into the barn shed, deserted, a little ground straw on the floor and at the mule stall in the corner. And as he looked in, there was a skittering on the floor, and a family of mice faded in under the straw. Joe paused at the entrance to the tool shed liento, and no tools were there. A broken plow point, a mess of hay wire in the corner, an iron wheel from a high rake and a rat-gnawed mule collar, a flat gallon oil can crusted with dirt and oil, and a pair of torn overalls hanging on a nail. There ain't nothing left, said Joe. We had pretty nice tools. There ain't nothing left. Casey said, if I was still a preacher, I'd say the arm of the Lord had struck. But now I don't know what happened. I've been away. I didn't hear nothing. They walked toward the concrete wall. Cap walked through cotton plants to get to it, and the balls were forming on the cotton, and the land was cultivated. We never planted here, Joe said. We always kept this clear. Why, you can't get a horse in now without he trumps the cotton. They paused at the dry watering trough, and the proper weeds that should grow under a trough were gone, and the old thick wood of the trough was dry and cracked. On the well cap, the bolts that had held the pump stuck up, their threads rusty and the nuts gone. Joe looked into the tube of the well and spat and listened. He dropped a clod down the well and listened. She was a good well, he said. I can't hear water. He seemed reluctant to go to the house. He dropped clod after clod down the well. Maybe they are all dead, he said. But somebody told me I'd got a word some way. Maybe they left a letter or something to tell in the house. Would they have known you was coming out? I don't know, said Joe. No, I guess not. I didn't know myself till a week ago. Let's look into the house. She's all pushed out of shape. Something knocked the hell out of her. Yes, something, the tractor. Mm-hmm. They walked slowly toward the sagging house. Two of the supports of the porch roof were pushed out so that the roof flopped down on one end, and the house corner was crushed in. Through a maze of splintered wood, the room at the corner was visible. The front door hung open inward, and a low, strong gate across the front door hung outward on leather hinges. Joe stopped at the step, a 12 by 12 timber. Doorsteps here, he said, but they are gone, or mass dead. So imagine the situation, no? He doesn't know what happened, and they could all be dead. He pointed to the low gate across the front door. If Ma was anywhere about, that gate be shut and hooked. That's one thing.
But Casey didn't know anything about the situation.
No, he was in prison.
He was in jail.
No, I mean the former reverend.
No,
Casey.
No, because he wasn't there. He was coming now, the same as Joe.
They were both coming.
Yes. So
okay.
they don't know what has happened.
But did he live there in the same?
No,
city?
Apparently he left the place, and now he is coming back.
He's coming back. Okay.
His eyes were warm. Ever since the pig got in over to Jacobs and ate the baby, Millie Jacobs was just out in the barn. So look at this anecdote, no? There was a pig who ate a baby. The baby was inside the house. And so after that, his mother never left the door open because she was afraid of,
the pigs coming.
Millie Jacobs was in a family way, and she went raving. Never did get over it. Touched ever since. But Ma took a lesson from it. She never left that big gate open unless she was in the house herself. Never did forget. No. They are gone or dead. He climbed to the split porch and looked into the kitchen. The windows were broken out. So you see, everything is destroyed, and then they don't know, yes? Jode pointed to the broken glass and the rocks. Kids, he said, they'll go 20 miles to bust a window. I done it myself. They know when a house is empty. They know. That's the first thing kids do when folks move out. The kitchen was empty of furniture. Stove gone and the round stovepipe hole in the wall showing light. On the sink shelf lay an old beer opener and a broken fork with its wooden handle gone. Jode slipped cautiously into the room, and the floor groaned under his weight. An old copy of the Philadelphia Ledger was on the floor against the wall, its pages yellow and curling. Jode looked into the bedroom. No bed, no chairs, nothing. On the wall, a picture of an Indian girl in color, labeled Red Wing. A bed slat leaning against the wall, and in one corner, a woman's high-bottom shoe, curled up at the toe and broken over in the instep. Jode picked it up and looked at it. I remember this, he said. This was Ma's. It's all wore out now. Ma liked them shoes, had them for years. No, they went and took everything. So now, he says, no, they have left. Casey said, they never wrote you nothing. No, like I said, they wasn't people to write. Pa could write, but he wouldn't. Didn't like to. It gave him the shivers to write. He could work out a catalog order as good as the next fellow, but he wouldn't write no letters just for ducks. Jode laid his road coat on the porch beside him. His independent hands rolled a cigarette, smoothed it, and lighted it, and he inhaled deeply and blew the smoke out through his nose. Something's wrong, he said. I can't put my finger on her. I got an itch that something's wrong in Angel. Just this house pushed around and my folks gone. Casey said, right over there the ditch was where I done the baptizing. You wasn't mean, but you was tough. Hang on to that little girl's pigtail like a bulldog. We baptize you both in the name of the Holy Ghost and still you hang on. And old Tom says, all him underwater. So I shove you your head down till you start to bubbling before you'd let go that pigtail. You wasn't mean, but you was tough. Sometimes a tough kid grows up with a big jolt of the spirit in him.
Inés,
Yes.
Cuando yo era pequeña, se ve que era muy brava y mamá me dijo que me bautizaban para ver si me volvía más buena. Y dicen que en el bautismo, cuando me iban a bautizar, de tanto que me moví, se me salió toda la ropa menos la capita que tenía atada. Y mamá quería el bautizo, ¿no? Para angelar a esta
Para
muchacha.
apaciguarte.
Claro, a ver si te
Sí,
dominaba un
sí.
poco.
Esto me
Ay,
hizo,
qué
me hizo acordar.
gracioso.
Hizo efecto.
Era un exorcismo prácticamente.
Claro.
Exacto, sí, sí.
Bueno, the same as Jode, no? The same story. Claro. And the father who said, put him under the water to see if he stops bothering. Well, a lean gray cat came sneaking out of the barn and crept through the cotton plants to the end of the porch. It leaped silently up to the porch and crept low-belly toward the men. It came to a place between and behind the two. And then it sat down, and its tail stretched out straight and flat to the floor, and the last inch of it flicked. The cat sat and looked off into the distance where the men were looking. Jode glanced around at it. By God, look who's here. Somebody stayed. Yes, he recognized the cat. The cat just made me figure what's wrong. Seems to me there's lots wrong, said Casey. No, it's more than just this place. Why can't that cat just move in with some neighbors, with the Rances? How come nobody ripped some lumber off this house? So he now starts thinking, and he says, no, if the cat is here, it's because there are not neighbors. And nobody came to steal the pieces of wood, so there are no neighbors, no? So it is not only my family, but all the other families, yes? I don't know, seems like maybe there aren't any neighbors. If there was, would all them nice planks be here? Why, Jesus Christ, Albert Rance took his family, kids and dogs and all into Oklahoma City one Christmas. They was gonna visit with Albert's cousin. Well, folks around here thought Albert moved away without saying nothing, figured maybe he got debts or some woman squaring off at him. When Albert came back a week later, there wasn't a thing left in his house. Stove was gone, bed was gone, wine frames was gone, and 8 feet of planking was gone off the south side of the house, so you could look right through her. He came driving home just as Muley Graves was going away with the doors and the well pump. Took Albert 2 weeks driving around the neighbors before he got his stuff back. Yes, so somebody moved and people took everything from him, no? So, but then they gave him back, all the things back. Well, the cat crept close between the men again, and its tail lay flat, its whiskers jerked now and then. Hell, I forgot the turtle. I ain't gonna pack it all over hell. So he unwrapped the land turtle and pushed it under the house. But in a moment it was out, headed southwest as it had been from the first. The cat leaped at it and struck at its straining head and slashed at its moving feet. The old, hard, humorous head was pulled in, and the thick tail slapped in under the shell. And when the cat grew tired of waiting for it and walked off, the turtle headed on southwest again. So you remember I told you about the turtle in some chapters before, and now this turtle, this is a symbol of these families, yes, because they are expelled, they are hit, they are abandoned, but they go on, and so this turtle is a symbol of their resistance, yes, because the turtle, when Tom frees her, goes on the same way she was going before, yes, and the cat attacks her, but she waits, or he waits, and again goes through, towards his direction. So the turtle is a symbol of all these families, no? How they persist and persist and persist. Young Tom Joad and the preacher watched the turtle go, waving its legs and boosting its heavy high domed shell along towards the southwest. Where the hell suppose he's going, said Joad. I've seen turtles all my life. They are always going someplace. They always seem to want to get there. Yes, and this is the idea. They always seem to want to get there. Well, then the preacher, staring off across the field, said, somebody's coming. Look, down there, right through the cotton. Joad looked where Casey's finger pointed. Coming afoot, he said. Can't see him for the dust he raises. Who the hell's coming here? They watched the figure approaching in the evening light, and the dust it raised was reddened by the setting sun. Man, said Joad. The man drew closer, and as he walked past the barn, Joad said, why, I know him. You know him. That's Muley Graves. And he called, hey, Muley, how you? The approaching man stopped, startled by the call, and then he came on quickly. He was a lean man, rather short. His movements were jerky and quick. He carried a gunny sack in his hand. His blue jeans were pale at knee and seat, and he wore an old black suit coat, stained and spotted, the sleeves torn loose from the shoulders in back, and ragged holes worn through at the elbows. His black hat was as stained as his coat, and the band, torn half free, flopped up and down as he walked. Muley's face was smooth and unwrinkled, but it wore the truculent look of a bad child's. The mouth held tight and small, the little eyes half scowling, half petulant. You remember Muley, Joad said softly to the preacher. Who's that? The advancing man called. Joad did not answer. Muley came close, very close, before he made out the faces. We'll be damned, he said. It's Tommy Joad. When do you get out, Tommy? 2 days ago, said Joad. Took a little time to hitchhike home. And look here what I find. Where's my folks, Muley? What's the house all smashed up for and cotton planted in the dooryard? By God, it's lucky I come by, said Muley, 'cause old Tom worried himself. When they was fixing to move, I was sitting in the kitchen there. I just told Tom I wanna go and move. By God, I told him that, and Tom says, I'm worrying myself about Tommy. Suppose he comes home and they ain't nobody here. What'll he think? I says. Why don't you write down a letter? And Tom says, maybe I will. I'll think about her. But if I don't, you keep your eye out for Tommy if you are still around. I'll be around, I says. I'll be around till hell freezes over. There ain't nobody can run a guy named of Graves out this country. And they ain't done it neither. So the family has left, and all the families we know, but this man stayed. He's, a character, no? This Muley doesn't want to go, and he's there without a house, without food, but he stays there. So you see, there are characters of all types.
And its name is grave.
Yes.
The grave doesn't
Yes.
move. It's placed
Yes.
there.
Very
Yes.
good, Teresa. Very good. Paying attention to the name. Yes, he's Graves. George said impatiently, where's my folks? Tell about you standing up them later, but where's my folks? Well, they was going to stick her out when the bank come to tractoring off the place. Your grandpa stood out here with a rifle, and he blowed the headlights off that cat. But she come on just the same. Your grandpa didn't want to kill the guy driving the cat, and that was Willie Philly. And Willie knowed it. So he just come on and bumped the hell out of the house and give her a shake like a dog shakes a rat. Well, it took something out of him, kind got him into him. He ain't been the same ever since. So you see, what we saw in the previous chapter is what happened to this house. Yes, the tractor came. The grandfather wanted to shoot with the rifle, but he only shot the tractor, not the man. Where is my folks? George spoke angrily. What I'm telling you, took 3 trips with your Uncle John's wagon. Took the stove and the pump and the beds. You should have seen them. Beds go out with all them kids and your grandma and grandpa setting up against the headboard, and your brother Noah sitting there smoking a cigarette and spitting lather over the side of the wagon. George opened his